My dear brothers and sisters, welcome to our today's reflection. We are celebrating the 21st Sunday in the ordinary time, year C. Our first reading is taken from the book of Prophet Isaiah, chapter 66, verses 18 to 21. Our second reading is from the letter to the Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 5 to 7, then verse 11 to 13. And our gospel reading is the gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 13, verses 22 to 30. In our first reading, we hear God revealing and proclaiming His merciful, loving, and caring concern to His people, the chosen ones of Israel, as well to other nations. This is through the message of Prophet Isaiah. This message is proclaimed to these people so that they may bear witness to the glory of God. In our second reading, we are reminded that we need to be trained by God, and the suffering is part of our training. In our gospel reading, we hear a good discussion between Jesus and one of his listeners who questions him about, will only a few be saved? This question has a future connotation, but in Jesus' response, it is a present question which needs an immediate response in our Christian life or in our Christian living. When we look at our Christian spiritual life, we see there are some essential components which should characterize our lives. The first thing, as we hear from the gospel, it is not enough to be in the company of Jesus. We are in the company of Jesus by the virtue of our baptism, but that is not enough to merit our salvation. We need to strive for our full salvation in the future or in the immediate kingdom of God. This is only through the grace of God, which is revealed in the second reading. The letter to the Hebrews is addressed to us as Christians. There we are reminded that we need to be in the school of training, and the teacher is God. And we are reminded that suffering is a precondition of this training. Why do we need this training? We need this training to respond to the invitation in our first reading to bear witness to the glory of God. None of us as Christians in our lives appreciates suffering, and none wishes to be in a challenging situation. But there is a statement which can help us to reflect on the mystery of suffering. It is only when all the possible options are all impossible, when only the only necessary one comes to play. It is only when we reach the epitome of our suffering when we can surrender everything to one who is beyond us, or who can redeem us from such a challenging situations. We as Christians who can do this is Jesus Christ. And that is why we need to belong to the school of God, to be trained as daughters and sons. And suffering will be a part of this training. We need to undergo the suffering in order to be purified, to be worthy, to bear witness to the message of Christ. Being in the company of Jesus Christ is not enough. We need also to go out and bear witness to Jesus Christ. That is not only through our speech, but also in our actions. My dear brothers and sisters, in our spiritual growth, it will only materialize or have fruits when we bear or give fair accord in response to bearing witness to the glory of God. And this is only possible if we take serious or we respond faithfully in the school of God, where we are trained through our different challenging life situations. My dear brothers, let us open our hearts and respond faithfully to the invitation of God today as he invites us to bear witness to him, as it is necessary for us to be in his school so that we can give fair accord and give immediate response to the invitation to his kingdom. My dear brothers and sisters, I wish you a blessed Sunday.